Hi, everybody. It's Knock Knock Neo here with another episode of the Self Mastery Protocol, where I take mental health questions, self improvement questions, motivation questions, any type of question that relates to self development, depression, or any kind of thing like that on Reddit. And I answer it in hopes to help other people with, similar situations, similar circumstances. Because at the end of the day, I really believe that we are more similar than we are different. And because I believe that, a lot of the problems that one individual will have, it's very, 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 very likely that another person will have it too. So, yeah. And because I know another person will have it too, then I'm hoping to, you know, just help a lot of people, basically. Okay, so today's question is, how do I stop worrying about the future? So valid, so valid. Okay, so I'm 20 male, have been dealing with clinical anxiety and paranoid schizophrenia for some 4 years now. I'm constantly worried about the future. I see myself constantly making plans, trying to figure out what to do with life just to make sure I live a normal life. Moreover, I'm strongly convinced that no matter what I do, my life will be doomed and bad things will always happen. How do I get out of this mindset? I'm constantly stressed and just I guess want a breath of fresh air. I miss the times when I didn't have to worry too much. Same. Okay, so first of all, there's a particular name for this type of anxiety, and it's called catastrophic anxiety. Right here, I'll just pull this up. So, catastrophic anxiety or catastrophizing is a cognitive distortion where the mind jumps to the worst possible conclusion, often exaggerating potential negative outcomes. It involves turning minor worries into major catastrophes, such as assuming a small mistake means losing a job. So, classic thing is the what if spiral, right? What if this? What if that? And from my personal experience, catastrophic anxiety kind of stems from the way that you were raised, right? So you have a lot of parents, my parents, one of them, would say things to me like, if you run off ahead of me, somebody will kidnap you. Or if you cross the street, you'll get hit by a car. Or if you don't wear your helmet, you'll fall off your bike and, get brain and become brain dead or something like that. Like these really huge, dire medical dire like consequences. And when you get older, it doesn't stop. Right? Because then your parents are like, well, if you fail this test, then won't get into a good school. Then you end up like, you end up being nothing. You'll end up homeless. If you don't do this, you'll end up that way. So it's the catastrophizing. It sort of doesn't stop, right? And the mentality behind that is that you don't know what will happen to you. Like there's no control, things can happen to you, and you just don't know how to manage yourself, right? So first things first, before I continue, I want to say that this part here, moreover, I'm strongly convinced that no matter what I do, my life will be doomed and bad things will always happen. Okay, so first off, my life will be doomed, which is not true. But the one part that is true is bad things will always happen, which is very true because that's just the way life is. Bad things don't stop to people, right? It's all about balance of life. I believe the yin yang is pretty much present in everything. There's a yin and a yang to everything, right? So good things will happen to you and bad things will happen to you. And I think that's just the way it is, right? That's the way it's going to be. And I think the sooner you accept that reality, the easier it will be for you to prepare for, as best as you can for the bad things that could happen to you, right? But the bigger than that is the mentality behind it, right? So I was just saying earlier, the mentality behind catastrophic anxiety is you just don't know, like you just there's this like sense of helplessness because you don't know what's going to happen to you, you don't know how to handle what may or may not happen to you, and because you don't know, you're always left questioning, right? So in order for you to sort of regain control of yourself, you have to, number one, stop thinking so far ahead in the future and just focus on what you can do today, right? Because the future is so broad and so vast and endless and almost and infinite in its in its possibilities. The weight of the anxiety will end up crushing you, right? So number one is to just ground yourself in the moment, right? Do what you can for today. Do what you can for the foreseeable future, right? And the mentality shift that you have to do is trust, right? I trust myself enough to know that when bad things do happen, that I can figure it out, right? That I can handle it when it comes, right? And I know that's a bit of CBT, but you have to find proof of that statement, because or else you'll never believe it, right? So one way you can find proof of that statement of the statement, I trust that when bad things do happen, that I can figure it out and I can come out on top, is to look to your past of things that when things like that did happen. So let's say you had a pop quiz in school, or you forgot about a test in school that you didn't know about and you actually did pretty well, right? Or let's say that let's say there's a deadline for a project coming up, whether it be at work or at school, and you don't have enough time, but you pulled an all-nighter and you pulled it off, right? So look for times in your life where you had the unforeseeable happen to you, and you managed somehow to gather yourself, figure it out, and you were successful at it when you came out of the other side. And that becomes proof of the statement, I trust that when bad things will happen, that I can manage it when it comes and I can figure it out. And say it out loud at first, right? And a part of you will either believe or not believe that statement. And if you don't believe that statement, like I said, look for things in your life that have that kind of that can prove that statement to be correct. Or think of another statement where it's similar to I trust myself, but maybe you quite don't trust yourself. Maybe it's more like, um I don't know if I can manage bad things when they come, but I know that I can learn to figure it out. And if that sounds more true to you, then that's what you say to yourself, right? Because the key to CBT is to believe the statements that you tell yourself, because you can tell yourself whatever you want, and if you don't believe it, it's not going to be real, right? So you can take a statement, and if you take a statement such as I trust myself that I can figure it out, and you don't quite believe it, try to find a statement adjacent to that, such as I trust that I can learn skills that can help me figure out my future. And maybe that might be more believable to you. And if that's more believable to you, then you can have that statement um, ground you into reality, and then you can stop catastrophizing so much, and yeah, and just stop having that vast, you know, limitless weight of the future stop crushing you. Okay? I hope that helps you. That's it for today, but I have a couple more lined up. So, yeah, I hope to see you in the next one. And thank you very much. And I hope this person, Soggy Housing 9535, I hope this helps you and whoever else decide to watch this video. Thank you. Till next time.